I have to say, I am pretty impressed with GTII maintaining its consolidation despite the bloody streets. Let's go ahead and go over the potentials for the next sessions. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. This is ARCa coming at you with a GTII technicals, raw price action, and statistical threat of analysis on this Thursday. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, team, so we are looking at GTII here on the monthly chart. Please remember that this is the ascending channel that we've been rising, right? So the reason we are pulling this up right now is because I want to just remind everybody that we faced the support touch of the bottom side of the channel, right? So let me get rid of this right here. Yeah, this right over here, right? We closed the monthly candle. We got the new monthly opening right here, and we're still looking green, right? So this very well could have been the validation of the bottom side of the support, okay, alongside the a very critical demand zone, you know, colored in gray there. Okay, so let's also remind ourselves about the 240-day thesis here. So that was officially over on the last monthly candle print, and this is officially the start of the next one. So historically speaking, I've noticed that around every 245-day close, there is a pretty nice up run. Okay, so now I haven't mentioned this particular thing before, but it's very curious that it would take this time to you know, introduce another upside. And the reason why I say this is because if you are not familiar with this, then there are exactly 252 days of trading in a single year, right? So it's very close to that entire year, right? So it feels like it actually reaccumulates and distributes within that entire year-round trading course, right? The 252 days. So yeah, I thought that it was pretty curious that it would suggest those 240-day metrics, right, or those occurrences. So let's go ahead and move on to the next chart here and see what we have. Okay, so another thing that we should be reminded of is the, you know, this falling wedge here, right, the triangle that you're looking at here. We reclaimed the inside of it. And we did talk about the potential of consolidating within this area because we have reclaimed the inside of the wedge, right? So what I would like to show you too is that we are apparently making some nice headway here in momentum versus volatility. Okay, so I know that we're very low in volatility right now, so there's not as many shares being traded, or not as many as we want, of course, right? So I would like to just say that it is kind of accumulating here, though. So starting off from the 4-hour time frame, you can actually see that we're starting to pivot towards the upside with the EMA3, which, by the way, is the leading indicator from the two moving averages within the stochastic momentum indicator. The blue line represents a simple moving average 14 period, so it's SMA 14. Right, so 6-hour time frame also showing a very nice upside on both of those moving averages, also in critical volatility here. Okay, so mathematically speaking, anytime that we do, you know, contract within these very critical levels, the expansion phase would be you know, paired with an upside with momentum. So that's it's looking pretty promising from this end, right? So I'm liking what I'm seeing here. Let's move on to the next chart, see what else we have. Okay, so yeah, this is the monthly iteration here, and I did talk about, I believe, the Gaussian band here, right? Well, I mean, it was also in the first chart that we were talking about here, right? So this is also something that we're looking at, right? I touched on this just very slightly yesterday, but the mean band is actually starting to show that it's getting very close to the bottom side support of the channel itself. So this makes it yet again very strong support, right? So not only the fact that it's a very strong demand zone, it's also the mean band support of the Gaussian band, and also the support of the bottom side of the channel, right? So lots of things kind of ending within that metric there. And also the fact that the 71.28, 2.618 Fibonacci ratio is landing right there as well, 71.28 right over here, right? So this is the reason why we marked off this support zone here. Let's move on, team, and see what else we can come up with. Okay, so yeah, so far I'm actually bringing a lot of emphasis to the 6-hour time frame, as there is a very, very nice setup kind of brewing in there, right? So another thing that we should kind of look at, team, is that while we are waiting for whatever it is that we're waiting for, there is now this chop zone that's being introduced, right? So if I mean, it's almost it feels almost algorithmic too, right? So this area here is very interesting because it's trading up and down the same thing. It's like almost barcoding on a 6-hour time frame, which is not typical, right? So, but in this case, you're riding the motions here up and down around 6.2%. Right. So I wouldn't say that it's the biggest opportunity in the world to trade that range because it is very small and very risky. Right. So, but I think it's still important for us to identify that range nonetheless. OK, so it is there. And now what's different from this side of the range to the present moment is that the SMA 10 is now actually being converted into an area of support. Right, so I know that we had a support here and here, but that's just the beginning of it, right? So it was actually serving as a resistance, right? We had a resistance here, resistance here, resistance here, and now we have that conversion into support. So that's a good thing. Okay, so a lot of things that we should be keeping an eye out for. Very tiny things, by the way. Okay, immediate short-term time frame, 30-minute RSI suggesting an upside continuation in the gravitational zone of the bull weakness percentile with a slight upside pivot on that SMA 14. Let's see, the bi-hourly time frame has also made a bullish cross upside of the SMA 14, represented by the pink line, right? And it has now entered the bullish control zone, the upper half of the RSI. So that's also looking very nice. Okay, so 4-hour time frame suggesting an upside as well. I think I spoke about this just maybe yesterday or the video prior to that. I was speaking of this needing a little bit more of thrust, right? Because this could introduce some consolidation. The particular area that this RSI signal is sitting is within the gravitational zone of the opposing zone, okay? So that would be the gravitation from the bull weakness percentile, which would essentially bring us back down to this area here. So now the opposition here, of course, it's a gravitational zone too. It's very nice because we also have the SMA 14 below us. Right, so what we would like actually is for the SMA 14 to get ever so slightly closer to the actual gravitational zone of the bear weakness percentile, so that we can use both of the thrust from the gravitational zone and the SMA 14 support. Okay, so similar situation here on the 8-hour time frame consolidation, very very much like this here on the 4-hour. Right, so and now 12-hour also suggesting some consolidation as well. Let's see, daily time frame 2 and 3 and 5 day as well. Okay, so I don't know what the asset is kind of waiting for here, and I also know that we've had a lot of blood in the streets today. Right, there was I think it may have been payroll. The ADP payroll was reported today, and that actually came in not so ideal because it may actually introduce the continuation of rate hikes, right? Although we may have a couple more left, it's still, the Fed is reactive to data. So the data came in, so they're going to have to be reactive to that. So I'm saying more than likely, we actually may face a rate hike on the next one, hopefully 25 bips. So, but we'll go ahead and speculate, I'm sure. Okay, so that's essentially what I'm looking at for this team. So remember that in this range, according to this range here, there is a resistance to be faced at 85. Okay, so there is a chance that we can reach that 85-cent mark and then actually pull back. And what would be nice here is that we can actually start using the SMA at 81.87 as a bounce zone. So we would actually reach that 81.87 and then start the contracting of both of these SMA 50 and SMA 10 moving averages. So as soon as they start converging here, price action would actually, be forced to one direction or the other. And in this case, since we are getting some bullish signals on momentum and volatility being maxed bottomed here, that I think the bulls may actually take the upper hand here. Okay, so let's just go ahead and keep an eye on those targets, okay? But if we do fail the area of about 81.97 or whatever we just spoke of, then of course the bottom side of the range is still there, 80.03. Okay, team, but please remember first and foremost that I am not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. I need you to do your due diligence and everything will be cool. But with that said, team, I wish you well, a very, very good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.